Hello, everyone out there in video land. Let's get our radio guys going, and then we're going to be set to go today. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Now we're just going to get our radio. Hello out there in radio land. We got our TV guys going. Now you're going, and I'm going. My name is Paul K. Lemire. This is your city, your voice, coming to you live on this manic Monday. And look at this weather out here. It's fantastic. It's beautiful out there. Sun shining, 45 degrees. My car is crying for a wash. And guess what it's going to get when I get home? It's going to get a wash, and it's going to get a good wash, too. I'm whipping out the hose and giving it the wash. It's going to be a phenomenal day for my car. It needs it so bad. We got the temperatures going into the 60s this week. How about that? That rodent, that little groundhog on February 2nd said 6 more weeks of winter, and he is bang on. Look at this. 4 weeks in February, 2 weeks in March, and here we are, 6 more weeks of winter, he said. And he was right on the money. Gary Wilkins, I'm not a good weatherman. The ground, you got to check the groundhog out. He knows what he's talking about. Okay, now all we have to do is get the street sweepers out, and we're ready to go. So let's start with our sponsors first, and then we'll get into the stuff that's been happening over the weekend, because it was pretty wild weekend everywhere. Okay, so my sponsors: Wild Bill's Auto Repair and Body Shop, Pete's Pizza on Victoria Avenue, and Hamill Machine Company. So we look at this weather. You know, you want to get in there, and you want to get those winter tires off, and you want to get your car checked out for the summer way before the rush starts, because, it's the first hot day. Everybody's air conditioning isn't working. Guys are going to be in there. They're going to want oil changes, the whole 10 yards. So you know what? Get your car in there before. Be proactive. Get it all checked out. Ken Hunter will throw your car on his computers. It'll give him error codes if there are any. He'll fix them. Get you going. You'll have a safe motoring summer. You're not going to break down when the kids want to go to Darien Lake and have some fun. Oh yeah, we can't go to America anymore. That's right. When you want to go to Maple, to Canada's Wonderland, and enjoy everything there. So get your car in, get it checked out by Ken. If you get in an accident, don't worry about it. Ken's got a full body shop there. He'll take your car in, fix it, and send it back out. How you doing, Paulie? And send it back in. There goes Paul Smith, another buddy of mine over there. Everybody always waves at me. Yeah, so you get them in there, get them out, and away you go. You're all set. Wild Bill's Auto Repair and Body Shop, Oakwood Drive, next to the Kia dealership. Support our sponsors because they support the show. And if you get a chance, smash the subscribe button. Subscribe to the channel. Come on. If you're watching it, subscribe. Let's go. We got to get up. I'm at 116.17 now. Let's get to 150. That's my goal. 150 now was 100. Now we got more. Spread the word. Share the video. Come on. Let's go. We got a year and a half to the next election in Niagara Falls. We got to wind this thing up, get people interested, get them tuned into what's going on in this city so we can have a good election with better than a 27% turnout. That's my goal with Your City, Your Voice, to get people out for the election and get the people we want in the chairs at City Hall. Subscribe. Thumbs up, thumbs down if you don't like it. I've had that before. And leave a comment. Come on, leave a comment on there. Comments are good. Okay, so before we get to Facebook funnies, I got to show you what Jeff brought me. Jeff brought me this, and you probably saw it before. Can you see that there? It's hilarious. Jeff's an artist. He lives downtown here, and he showed me this little thing he did. And it's hilarious because at the top, there's some helicopters, which represent the noise from the helicopters. And the trees are freaking out over here, peace and quiet. And he calls it South of Park. And he's talking about South of Park Street, the authentic downtown. He's got a picture of this guy here, Shopping Cartman. So, this is a play on South Park. And there's Shopping Cartman. And he's got a joint. And he's got all this stuff in the shopping cart here. It's hilarious. And it says, authentic downtown, $1.88 million gravel-filled toxic hole. That's what I call the meteor crater down here. And it's beautiful. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing he gave me. I'm going to frame this baby. I'm going to put it up and frame it. Thank you so much, Jeff. What a guy. And this is fantastic. I can't wait to get a frame for it and get it up somewhere. It's awesome. Oh, I should really take a picture and put it up in the studio here somewhere. But I will post it on Facebook too. Okay, now, thank you, Jeff. I appreciate that. Thank you to all my listeners. I appreciate any input they have and all the viewers. I appreciate all input, and we usually talk about it. So I always do Facebook funnies because Facebook is a never-ending supply of fun for me. So apparently, some Facebook pages are a bit butthurt by my comments on my show. I guess I don't know why. I have these 4 Facebook pages I post stuff on all the time. I've been doing it for 2 years now, basically, and all of a sudden, they've banned me. I'm banned till March 14th, I guess, until they open it up for me again, or maybe they won't. I don't know. But it's hilarious. I've been banned from 4 pages. I've been banned from a lot of things lately, and sometimes even from Facebook, I get suspended. So here's the pages that I was banned from: Chippewa News Views and Local Events, Niagara Falls News Views and Local Events, Chippewa Speaks Up, Uncensored Chat Group. Now, this is funny. And Niagara Voters Forum, Uncensored Chat Group. Now, why would I get banned from an uncensored chat group? Doesn't that kind of go against what they are? If they're uncensored, why am I getting booted out? But I can't think of why I would be banned from Chippewa. I love Chippewa. I always talk about Chippewa. I love the people of Chippewa. Love everything about Chippewa. Our diamond in the rough. Cross the bridge. I tell them to put a gate up there so that none of these riffraff can get in. But whoever runs that page obviously didn't like what I had to say. Oh, well, probably not a Trump fan. That usually does it in Canada. I mean, you're in Canada and you're a Trump fan, a lot of people don't like you. They don't agree with you. They toss you out. Well, life goes on. What are you going to do, right? Life goes on. Now, I did tell one of my buddies that lives out by Chippewa about this. And he says, "Hey, I run the Chippewa News Views and Local Events. Who threw you out?" And I said, "I don't know. I just went to post my normally I post my announcement for my show in the morning, and then I post the video later on in the day when I have it." But he got in there and put me back in. Toot sweet. So there you go. I'm back in business. So that was a short one. But the other 3, that was I believe that was the Chippewa News Views and Local Events, including Willoughby and Crowlin. And they put me back. So at the end of the day, I'm back there. But the other 3, I'm still banned. I went in there this morning. They still got the hex on me over there. But we'll find out maybe what happened. I don't know. Maybe I'll get banned for life for being a bad boy. Bad boy. What you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you? But who knows, right? Who knows? I'll definitely let you know. That's the way it works. Your city, your voice. I tell you about everything. Viewer comments. We didn't have a lot of viewer comments, but I did have a good question. I'm at 881 Slick. I recall when I asked Mona Patel to put cameras at Oaks Park, and your mayor said yes. But if you remember, Mona said doing graffiti and bad things on city property should be a no-no. Now, Jason Burgess was not elected, so he has no say as to what people want. So I don't know what Patel's doing with this or what they did. Did they put the cameras up? Who knows? We don't know. I mean, my roving Doge agent, Gary Wilkins, is going to have to go check that one out and tell us exactly what went down over there, because who knows, right? And I was just thinking about my viewers and everybody out there, and whatever happened to limericks? Remember limericks? They used to be a big thing. Well, we should start making limericks up about the city council. How about that? I want limericks. Anybody out there good at making up limericks and doing limericks? That's what I want. I want to see some limericks. I'll read them on air. But I'll give you the example of what a limerick is, right? let me think of one real quick. Well, yeah, it's not that easy. I had one, but I got to think about it. A counselor named Mona wouldn't take calls on the telephona. She really didn't care. She was here and there and everywhere, more worried about her persona. That's what a limerick is. So there you go. That's a short one. That's a short one. I just thought that up off the top of my head. Now you can do it. You can do it too. Come on. Give me some. I'm going to make more up, but you can give me some. We'll say them every day. Now I had a question from Dominic Caruso. Do you think it's fair to, that President Trump randomly puts these tariffs on and off again? Good question, Dominic. Do I think it's fair? Well, I mean, to be honest with you, I really don't. Trump don't really care what I think, but what I think is that Trump is going to be Trump. And I think it indicates he really doesn't want any barriers to trade. He doesn't want tariffs and that. And if Canada can get its act together and eliminate the 4,000 organized crime elements producing fentanyl in Canada, and that number came by the RCMP, by the way, then the tariffs will be gone. Trump's a businessman. Anything that interrupts good business is not good for him or anybody else. He's trying to correct a problem that has gone on too long in Canada. Open borders allowing the importation of not only fentanyl, but the ingredients to make fentanyl, and allow illegal criminals to enter Canada, providing a pipeline directly to the U.S. The amount caught at the Canadian border is very low due to border policies. They're just bad at the Canadian border. This has to stop. Trump's executive order about tariffs directly spoke to the drug and illegal problem. Is it fair? Probably not, but it is Trump, and fairness is not relevant when his goal is to make America great again. He uses whatever it takes on and off again. Tariffs is one of those tactics. It's a good exercise for all Canadians, though, in that they have to be ready for anything. We've been sitting back doing nothing for so long and leaning on the United States for a lot of things. Now it forces our inept politicians to actually have to work for Canadians. That's right. All these things that they do that have done nothing good for any Canadian, all of a sudden now they're responsible. They have to be responsible. And it's sad to me, if you want a commentary, that a foreign leader has to force our politicians to do what's right for us. Imagine that. Imagine that. Canada is letting its sovereignty slip away through negligence and depending on other countries for manufacturing and trade. This hasn't just happened since Trump was president. He's only been president now for 5 weeks with all these tariffs. Did it all happen in the last 5 weeks? No, of course not. It's been happening year after year as our leaders neglect our country. Anything we do import has tariffs to protect the Canadian products. And now the world dynamic has changed as the U.S. moves into a protectionist mode. And other countries have to deal with it, and so do we. There's a balance. We'll find it, but it's not going to happen overnight. Let's face it. It won't happen overnight. It's a long process to get Canada back on its feet. We're not going to see it from tax and spend liberals, that's for sure. So whatever happened this weekend, and we'll talk about that later, has no effect on it. Trump is going to be Trump. Canada, if they were prepared, it wouldn't be a big deal. But now everybody's crying and they're going to boycott this, boycott that, take the liquor off the shelves. Don't go to the States to vacation. It's not going to help anything. It's not going to help anything. We need our leaders to be in Washington wrangling this out and figuring out what's best for both countries. And you know what? Some kind of economic union might be the best for both countries, might help Canadians and Canada. So we can't just overlook that because we have this ego and pride and sovereignty and the rest that goes with that. We have to really, really buckle down and make it work with Trump. No matter what anybody says, he's the guy calling the shots right now. From Canada to China to Russia to the Ukraine to the European Union, he's the guy. He's the guy, and what he doesn't want, he's not going to support. So he's trying to make people get into the groove of doing what's right for him and for them when it gets right down to it, right? Because trade is important. Anyway, that's it, Dominic. That's what I think. Trump will be Trump. We got to deal with it, and unfortunately, we're not in the position right now to deal with it because of our inept leaders over the years. I was looking at the review, and I saw that a local legend has died. John Clare. I don't know if anybody knows who John Clare is, but he's owner of Clare Cycle and Sports. He passed away at the age of 91. And I mean, if you knew John Clare, anybody who knew John loved the guy. He's one of the nicest people on earth. He was a plumber that in 1955 traded a plumbing job for a 1932 Harley Davidson, and the rest is history. Totally into bikes, totally into Harleys. And back in 73, I bought my first motorcycle from John Clare, brand new Triumph 650 Bonneville. And I wish I still had that one. It'd probably be worth a fortune now. And followed that one up with a 1993 Harley Davidson from him. And John it was a pleasure to deal with. The guy was just a gem. You'd smile when you saw him. He's just a great guy. And he says to me, "Hey, I bet you can't wait to get that redhead, Liz, right, on the back of that bike for a ride." I guess he liked redheads. I don't know. But he always had a big smile when she walked in with me for parts or anywhere else, right? Anything else I needed. He was a true gentleman, that guy, John. Rest in peace, John. An icon, a gentleman, and truly a nice guy. We lost a local legend in the motorcycle business, and we just lost a really nice guy. Okay, so let's get to the big news yesterday, and with Mark Carney, and I'm going to get to that in a minute. I'm going to mention my second sponsor right now, and that is Pete's Pizza on Victoria Avenue. And guess what I had for breakfast? Yeah, I had a couple slices of Pete's Pizza from Victoria Avenue. Awesome pizza. I mean, like I get a tray. When the tray was on sale for $20 in February, and I think every Wednesday they have a $19.99 tray special where you can get a tray out with 3 items on for $19.99, I believe. I get it. And I eat maybe 3 pieces or something. Then I freeze the rest. And as I want it, I pull it out and I have it for breakfast. So great stuff. They make great pizza over there. But the beauty of it is they use the Mancini family recipe for the crust and the sauce. Unbelievable. And Mike knows how to mix it. He uses the freshest ingredients, including a blend of Saputo mozzarella with a brick cheese, which makes the cheese on it fantastic. He puts it in the right ratio to the sauce, so you get that beautiful flavor, freshest ingredients. You can't go wrong. They have a full menu, not just pizza. They have fantastic wings. They have fantastic steak and cheese poutine, other kinds of poutines, panzerotti, you name it, they can do it. They have a menu this big. Pete's Pizza on Victoria Avenue. Give them a call today. Tell them Paul from your city sent you, your city, your voice sent you, and call up 905-374-2222 for a telephone order. Pete's Pizza Victoria.ca for an online order. They have Skip, they have Dash, all the things you like to use. And yeah, they know how to do it over there. Pete's Pizza Victoria Avenue. Give them a call today. Please give them a call. Support our sponsors because they support the show in the city. Oh, so we got this other one. This is the next biggest WEF member and pain in the ass, Mark Carney. This guy, if Trudeau didn't ruin the country, this the worst banker of all time now, he's going to ruin it. He's got, Trudeau is still prime minister. No matter what anybody says on the internet, that Trudeau is still prime minister till he steps down, and this next goofball is appointed. And it was a joke of an a joke of an election. It was all predetermined he was going to win. It was stupid. But you know what? He's a smarter Trudeau. I mean, that's not saying a lot. You don't have to be too smart to beat that guy. But he's more dangerous than Trudeau for sure. He can do more damage. It's truly meet the new boss, same as the old boss. And I mean, if somebody's going to put a sword in Canada's heart and kill it for good, this is the guy that'll do it. This is the guy. Of course, he loves the tariff wars with Trump and vows to keep the tariffs on until the Americans show some respect. What a fool. What a fool. Canadians better be ready for a rough ride if this guy gets elected. Because once he gets in, the hope is that Dingaling Singh will call an election. The Marxist Maserati, yeah, the Maserati Marxist. That's what Pierre calls them. I call him the Raja of Rolex. But he's got to take this guy down. As soon as they recall Parliament, Trudeau steps down. Then they've got to definitely make a move to oust this guy and bring him down and have an election right away. So we'll see how long that takes. So we have red liberals, orange liberals, and blue liberals about to run the country now. The reds are the worst of the bunch. The blues are second worst, and the oranges are the absolute worst. Or maybe you can interchange the oranges and the reds. But we don't really have a choice. We're Canadians. What choice do we have? I mean, unless anybody thinks the Purple Party can win, I mean, that would be the best choice, but I don't think that's going to happen. So we don't want orange. We don't want red. We're going to be forced to vote for blue. And that's what happened in Niagara Falls. And it didn't work. So what's next? We're forced to vote blue again, regardless. And we got to hope that he can win. But these liberals are tough because they have bought and paid for votes. They've got the public service unions, which they've added thousands of people to. They're not going to kill the golden goose. You've got the minority groups, the special interest groups. You got all these immigrants who let them in, the liberals. So they're not going to vote against them. It's going to be a tough road for Pierre to win, even though he has a big lead in the polls. I tell you one thing, every conservative better show up and vote. This isn't a slam dunk as everybody thinks it is, I don't think. But what's a Canadian to do? We want to get rid of these tax and spend liberals. We gotta vote for Pierre. I like what Max Bernier has to say better. So I'm torn between those two, but the reality is, can Max win a national election? He didn't even win his riding. Take it from there. You know what? There's a lot of lechers out there. They're going to use these tariffs to justify jumping prices on everything. And who gets punched in the gut when this happens? The end users. We're the guys who always take it on the chin. I mean, government could help the situation. The first thing they should do is drop the carbon tax. As Trump's going to put tariffs on everything, he's given us a reprieve till April 2nd. As he's going to put tariffs on everything, they could really do us good by dropping the carbon tax right now and getting out of the Paris Accord, regardless who takes over. Save us some money and quit giving money to the Ukraine. Stop that nonsense. That's not helping anybody. But we know the liberals are never going to do that. So we're stuck. We always pay the bills, and they're going to go much higher. Look at what happened to prices during COVID. Look what happened to gas prices when there's a hurricane in the Gulf or any other event around the world that there's oil involved. Prices rise sharply, and the event usually has nothing to do with it. It's just an opportunity because these lechers are opportunistic to raise taxes and blame it on something else. Usually, government leads the way in these increases. We see our own city council using inflationary increase. Ketchup increase, always a name for it, always a name. They always have an excuse, double talk for raising taxes or for raising prices. It's the same with anybody. I mean, even the grocery stores were found for colluding. They were colluding on pricing during COVID. I mean, Trump's looking in the States. He's looking for ways to drop taxes, drop the income tax completely, dissolve the IRS, no income taxes, using revenue from tariffs, drop corporate taxes, basically make life better for all Americans. And there was no income tax at one time. You know that, right? What they did was they charged people to do business in the country. So if some big company wants to come to America, they pay. They have to pay to access our huge market. In the States, it's 350 million people. In Canada, it's 35 million, not as big. But still, the United States is going to start charging them to access the market. That's where they're going to get their money from. I mean, what are Canadians doing? Well, they're rallying Canadians to buy Canadian. Okay. Stop vacations in the US, sovereignty, hate. All they're doing is making matters worse. They're not helping anything. What if Americans see this and start boycotting all Canadian goods? 350 million people saying no to Canada. No, don't buy anything Canadian that comes over that border. Remember Bud Light and Target when they decided they were going to start boycotting companies for what they did? Well, they start boycotting Canada for what they did. Think about this: 3 million people a year come to Niagara Falls from the US. What if that just dried up? What if they just stopped coming? How would that affect Niagara Falls? It's a thought, as we want to increase the number of tourists that come here and increase the American presence. And we have a great way to do it with the 50-cent dollar, Canadian peso. These guys are shooting themselves in the foot, taking all the booze off the shelves, boycotting America. But you know what? It's really convoluted thinking. At the end of the day, though, I mean, why are they grinding more salt into the tariff wound? I mean, remember what happens. These other companies that did that. But I think Canadians are really good at virtue signaling. I think that's what they're good at. They talk a lot and bang their chests and talk of bravado and this and that. But at the end of the day, they sit here in the winter and they go, you know what? We got to get away. And there's nowhere in Canada to go. So let's go to Florida. Let's go to our trip. Even though we said we're not going to support the US or do anything in the US, we're canceling all our trips. We got to get out of here. We got to get out of here for a couple weeks. So they're going to virtual signal and go through all the signs, all the steps, yell and scream. But at the end of the day, they'll sneak off to an airport in Hamilton, hop on a flight, and be down in sunny Florida in the winter and stay there a couple months. They got winter homes and that. They're not just going to give them up there. They talk, but that isn't going to happen. That isn't going to happen. I can guarantee that. I can guarantee it. So why even talk about it? Come on. You want to go to the States, go to the States, have a good time. I mean, it's cost you 50% more because that's what the dollar's at. So go and have a good time. Don't worry about it. Canadians, don't boycott stuff. Come on, put that booze back on the shelves. Sell it at 25% more so you can recover the tariff you want to put on. If people want to drink Jack Daniels, who cares? If they want to spend $50 a bottle, why not sell it to them? Why let it sit in a warehouse rotting? There's billions of dollars of stuff. Let's make money from it. If you don't want to order anymore, don't order anymore. I guarantee the price and the tariff is going to bother anybody. They'll bring it in and sell it, and people will buy it. I mean, Canadians are used to high prices for booze and everything else. So it doesn't matter. 25% is going to stop a guy who wants a bottle of JD to buy it. What's he going to go to? You like JD, you like JD. Let's face it. So we got to get off this whole thing, this ego and everything else, and we got to start working with the United States. They're on the right track. They want peace. They want to stop everything in the world. They don't want all this stuff. It's not good. It's not good, and they don't want drugs, and they don't want illegal. So we got to straighten out our act in Canada as well. And there's a lot of wacky people in Canada. Let me put it that way. And the region really brings out the crazies. Now, some residents are calling for the removal of Wayne Gretzky's name, the great one, as hockey fans call him, from the winery in Niagara-on-the-Lake that has his name on it. Why? Oh, because they're all hurt that Wayne is associated with President Trump. Can you imagine? You talk about TDS and wokeness. Are you crazy? This is him and his family have been Canada all the way, all the time. And this is the apex. This is the top. This is the summit of craziness. They've urged consumers to either boycott Wayne Gretzky Estates Winery and Distillery or encourage Andrew Peller Limited, who owns it, to remove the Great One's name from the winery. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Oh my goodness. Steve McGinnis, who appears to be named after a beer, said the political tension rises between Canada and the US. Gretzky's name has now become a stain on our town. That's what this goofball in Niagara Lake said. I mean, that clock and down in that beautiful, beautiful clock in the middle of Queen Street there in Niagara Lake. Is that what it's called? The main street, Queen Street or King Street? I think it's Queen Street. Whatever it's called, they got to replace it with a cuckoo clock. That cuckoo clock would be going off every minute in that little artsy fartsy town. Now, there's a lot of cuckoos there. Now, this beer, named Resident, the one with the last name of Guinness, also said that the Great One has made no effort to dissociate himself with Orange Man Bad's threats to Canada. He never made the threats. What the heck? I don't even know how much he likes Trump. Trump said he should be prime minister. He liked that, but I mean, I don't know how much good of a friend he is with Trump. But even if he's a friend with Trump, what does that have to do with his career and with everything he's done for Canada? Oh my goodness, these people are crazy. I love how the left-wing loonies blame Trump for everything. They blame Trump for Trudeau's deficiencies over the past 10 years. Like everything Trudeau did wrong, it's Trump's fault. Like first was Trump was his second in command there, telling him what to do. I mean, Trudeau should have been doing the same thing for Canada. Borders, protecting the border, sovereignty. No, he didn't. He didn't. He did the opposite. And now Trump is to blame. I mean, this is crazy. Now they want to throw him out. You want to throw his name out? If there's a statue down there, I don't know. I've never been there. I don't really like his whiskey, to be honest with you. I've had it before. It's pretty bad. Imagine this. I mean, they're crying he wore a MAGA hat. Oh my God. Joe Biden put a MAGA hat on one time. And so he supports Trump, and now he's the enemy. See how people are? You support Trump, you're the enemy. Do they not have anything better to do, these people? Seriously. They must have something better to do than worry about these minor things and trying to take down a distillery. Oh man, it's crazy. They saw him give 2 thumbs up to the American team, even though they lost the tournament. So big deal. They were in the finals. He gave 2 thumbs up. And he wore a suit rather than a Canadian hockey jersey. Imagine that. But the guy says the hockey jersey. Now, right there, it's a hockey sweater, not a jersey. In Canada, we call them hockey sweaters, not jerseys. So you're using an American term right there. I'm going to boycott you now. Anti-Canadian using the word jersey. That's from football. We wear hockey sweaters. It's crazy. Now, blue liberal Doug Ford said he talked to the Great One, and Gretzky was totally choked up about the negative attacks on him by Canadians. Well, Ford said he's a patriot. He loves Canada. Gretzky's wife, Janet, chimed in. I have never met anyone more proud to be a Canadian than Wayne. Even Bobby Orr jumped in. He said, we all have our personal beliefs as they pertain to religion and politics. Wayne respects your right to such beliefs. Why can't you respect his? Now, it's kind of a backhanded defense, right? Orr never says if he backs Gretzky or not. He just says that you got to respect his thing. That wasn't really a ringing endorsement by the Bobby Orr for Wayne Gretzky. But it doesn't sound like Orr's a real big Trump fan either. But to me, these people are all useful idiots. They're useful idiots for the woke agenda. They do nothing but make Canada and Canadians look stupid. You know, when they hear this story in the States, they're just going to laugh. What a bunch of maroons. We have a few Canadian icons left. If it was up to left-wing loonies, they would tear them down. Even the few we have left, they would tear them down, tear down any statues up. I mean, and now they're picking on the great one. One wacko said, even though I love the rye they make, it's Canadian made. I refuse to buy any more from them now because Gretzky is a Trump supporter. You think I'm kidding? This is the way people think. You see, they do live and breathe without a brain. How can this be? A miracle. A miracle. My advice to these people, go back in your cave, sit in the dark, watching horror as Orange Man Bad, the Cheeto Bandito, and what do they call him? Cheeto Man. Cheeto Bandito is Wayne Gates. Cheeto Man and the Southern Psychopath, whatever else you call him, takes control and gives you nightmares as he lives in your head 24/7, 365 days of the year. And leave the great one alone, please. If Peller agrees to any of this lunacy, I'll boycott them. And so will other conservatives, just like they boycotted Bud Light and Target. And you know what happened there. I mean, come on. Come on. Unbelievable. It happens. They're out there. Every corner, they're out there. I see them all the time. I argue with them every day. They're out there. Okay, I got to talk about a weird thing at the casino here. But first, I'm going to my third sponsor, and that is Hamel Machine Company. Hamel Machine Company's been around since 1948 in Niagara Falls. That's right. And they've been serving industry here day in and day out since 1948. What's that? 80 years? Pretty close to 80 years, right? Yeah, they've been around. Not only do they take care of anything you need at home, anything metal you break, anything metal that needs repair, anything that needs to be keyed, anything that needs to be machined, they can do it for you. But they also work with the big industry in Niagara Falls, you know, including Rich Products and Made of the Mist and some of these other companies around here that they continually do work for to ensure that these industries can keep up and running instead of waiting for parts. They create parts, they make parts, they have 3D printers, they have water jet cutters. They invent, they innovate, they do it all. They have electrical engineers, they have IT people, they have designers, graphic designers, everything there. Whatever industry needs, they do it. And they come up with better solutions for industry as well. Like came up with aluminum racks for the wine industry so they're easier to work with. They came up with harvesting machines for hydroponics for industry around the world. They ship stuff around the world. Hamel Machine Company, it does so much, and they're right here in Niagara Falls. They're ours. They're right here in Niagara Falls, and they do a lot of work for everybody in the city, including the city itself. They repair things for them. Hamel Machine Company. You've got to go to their website. Just Google Hamel Machine. It'll take you there. And guess what? You're going to see all the beautiful stuff they do. They have a gallery in there. And if you need a job, talk to Bob over there. Man, oh man, they're always looking for good people, and they can give you a career in the industry. Hamel Machine Company, local for a long time. They support us. They support the show. They support the city. Support Hamel Machine Company. Tell them Paul from Your City, Your Voice sent you if you ever go down there and need something fixed. Okay, and a weird one at the casino. This guy named, now I'm going to try to get this right, Branavan Hanna Pathip, Pathipilio. Pathipilii. Hanna Pathipili. The Sri Lankan Tamil. He had 12 aliases, 14 addresses, 13 phones, 5 drivers' licenses, and various dates of birth. They couldn't get it straight. He's going to appeal the decision handed down by the courts not to give him back. They're not going to give him back $100,000 that was seized by the OPP for money laundering at the casino. And now he wants his money back. So he's going to go to the courts to try to get it back. And they refuse to give it back to him. Now, here's the guy 12 aliases, 14 addresses, 13 phone numbers, 5 driver's licenses, and various dates of birth. Now, do you think he's laundering money at the casino? Of course he is. So he went in there to launder some money, 100 grand, and they grabbed it from him. They kept it. Proceeds of crime. He claims he's a chronic high stakes gambler and that the money is his, while the authorities look at it and say, no, you were laundering money and now it's proceeds of crime and we keep it. The money was seized at the Fallsview Casino in 2022, and the judge making the decision said the Attorney General has established that the money seized flowed through the accounts of the accused, and after an audit, it was found that his companies could not have supported the vast amounts of money spent at the casino, and his income could not support that as well. So the money is most likely being laundered for other interest, crime. A total of 23 financial accounts were audited, including 19 bank accounts and 4 master accounts that this guy owned. Now, he's going to appeal the decision by the courts to keep the money, and he wants the money back. And of course he is, because think about it. Well, first of all, the lawyers are going to eat up the 100 grand. That's nothing in a case like this. So why bother fighting it out? Most people just say, I'm going to spend more on lawyers than I am to get it back, so I don't need it back. Happens all the time at the casinos. Casinos are an easy way to launder money. That's why there's so many laws regarding deposits and payouts and that kind of thing. In April 2023, a patron attended the high-limit gaming room at the casino and handed them $80,000 in strapped $100 bills from a grocery bag. And nobody was suspicious. They gave him $80,000 worth of chips, and the person walked out of the casino without playing. I mean, if there's a will, there's a way they'll do it, and I think the casino was fined for that one. They found out that they should have been checking this and everything else, and they were fined for giving him the money like that. But this guy is probably never going to get his money back. He's in the black books now, probably. Won't even be allowed in the casino anymore. They always have the black book, the casino, right? Of course, my opinion is the guy should be arrested and deported back to Sri Lanka. If he's Canadian, he should do this some time. But there was nothing about either of those two options for this guy. I guess there's no laws against money laundering in Canada, and it doesn't appear they bothered looking for exactly where the money came from. The evidence showed he couldn't afford to be spending that kind of money, but they never went further to find out exactly where this guy got the money. They just seized the money, and I think at the end of the day, this guy, somebody's going to be leaning on him for the money. We want our money back. And this guy's going to be going, well, they took it. What do you want me to do? Well, you're going to pay it back. I mean, he's got some splaining to do to whoever he got the money from. And if he doesn't give it back, street justice may prevail. So you want to read more about this story, go to the review, and I thank Allison Langley of the review for the great article. Another one of the great review writers. But isn't that wild? Guys laundering money through the casino, tons of it. They finally caught him, and and went through out of his books and everything. And he's in trouble with somebody. Somebody's going to be looking for their 100,000 back. That's for sure. Okay, so Trudeau's going to allocate $6.5 billion in new EI benefit rules to support businesses and workers caught up in the Trump tariffs. Oh boy, here we go again. COVID all over again. And getting flashbacks of all this money he gave out to people when he closed everything down. This is the best thing that could happen to Trudeau. More people dependent on government for their daily bread. That's what he wants. A true socialist wants that. They want people to be dependent on the government for everything. And you know what? As much as you depend on the government, they could take it away real quick. They got control. Instead of being down with Trump trying to figure everything out, he's over in Europe promising billions of dollars to fight a never-ending war in the Ukraine and promising boots on the ground. Yeah, the Canadian military, boots on the ground if necessary. I mean, who are we going to send? You'll start drafting conscription to send people over there? Don't worry about it, Canadians. Trump's going to have this settled before you know it. And you know what? All the tariffs that Trump's threatening with, now China's threatening. They're in on the action with 100% tariffs on some Canadian agricultural products and 25% on other goods. So, you know what? Now everybody's coming off after Canada. Everybody. And they're coming from the left and the right, China and the US. But there's an easy way to solve this. All Trudeau's got to do is call a press conference, or whoever's in charge, and say, you know what? Canada's going to meet with President Trump to become the 51st state. And that's it. I've just announced we are going to meet with President Trump to become the 51st state. Can you imagine the response from China? Their heads would blow up. And he just says to China, hey, listen, we're caught between you and the United States. And if we have to side with anybody, because Canada's going to go broke if you put these 100% tariffs on, so now you're forcing us to align with the states to prevent it. Now, Canada doesn't have to do it. You got to use the Trump method. You threaten to do it. You threaten to do it and see what China does. I mean, you know, you talk about a 51st state uniting the two countries, the tariffs. I mean, here, China, suck on that. Now, Trump would be impressed. Any sort of union would drop the tariffs, move to one currency, and be good for Canadian businesses to have unfettered access to 350 million people. Not to mention U.S. goods without fees or tariffs, U.S. healthcare, a common dollar with no exchange, and free movement within Canada for everybody. Move around Canada, you can move around the U.S. No passports necessary. You can work, live, and play where it suits you. I mean, threatening this, you know, would be a great way to deal with China when they want to put 100% tariffs. Let's guarantee you that might alter their attitude towards the tariffs. But there is good things about being part of the United States. I'm not saying we have to be the 51st state, but at least have some form of union with them. Want an MRI? Well, in Canada, there are 9 machines per million people. You might have to wait a year, 2 years, who knows? In the US, there's 4 times that, 37.5 per million. You can book an MRA tomorrow. If you want an MRI, you just call up the hospital in Lewiston, St. Mary's, and say, I'd like to get an MRI, and they'll tell you to come in the next afternoon and get one. That's how quick it is. And the US is second to Japan, who have 55 machines per million. So, I mean, the wait times are less. You get the operations on your knees and everything done quick. You know, and for most people, they have benefits where they work. They have Medicare and Medicaid for people who either are seniors or they can't afford it. So there's programs there for them. Now, as Canadians, we don't have that luxury. We got to go over there and pay. You want an MRI of your knee, you might have to pay 400 or 500 US for it. But hey, you get it done right away. If it's that bad and it's really affecting your lifestyle, why wouldn't you pay if you can? The thought of joining the U.S. makes Canadians crazy. I will say that it's the best thing we can do for this broken down country right now. We are failing after years of abuse by the left wing radicals who haven't given away Canada's sovereignty to invaders with their open borders and take Canada to the brink of bankruptcy with their tax and spend outlook and by giving away billions to foreign countries. Do I like it? No. But the reality is that's the situation we're in. And looking at the Chinese faces, if we ever broke the news that that's going to happen, whether it does or not, we don't have to go through it if we don't want to. But having the news break about that and watching the Chinese faces, it would be hilarious. It would be hilarious because that's the last thing they want to see is Canada teaming up with the U.S. That would be a nightmare for them. But it's a good Trumpian move. Good Trumpian move. Come on, Trudeau. Well, he's not going to do it. Carney won't do it. They're not going to do it. He's already said he's going to fight the tariffs and fight the U.S. To the death, and Ford's the same way. So we're never going to see that. But I think it would be hilarious if they pulled the Trump on China and made this announcement. That would be killer. So down south, speaking of Trump and Doge, it's hard at work cutting waste and outing fraud in government agencies. The latest was Doge wanting to take away credit cards from the government employees. And a federal judge ruled against that. There's some bizarre reason, who knows? So Musk said, okay, that's fine. We can't take them away. Hello, MasterCard? Yep. I want every card that's owned by our employees to have a $1 limit. And that's it. They can't spend more than $1. So it's made the cards virtually useless. And checkmate. Checkmate on that one. Checkmate on that one, baby. You're not getting any of that stuff. Now, Trump has cut off all intelligence to the Ukraine, and without intelligence, they can't launch any missiles. Of course, any missiles they get from the U.S. and that they need codes and they need programmers to program them, so they go where they have to go and everything else. So he's cutting off everything to them, and they're useless now. And he's trying to force Zelensky to have a quick war to the end to this war. Now, Zelensky's changed his tune after the dust up at the White House and cutting off money and cutting off intelligence. And he says he's ready to initiate a just and lasting peace. We'll see. Cutting off intelligence, a freeze on weapons, and a freeze on money basically says guarantees a Russian victory over the Ukraine, at which time there wouldn't be a need for peace. And Zelensky, he can achieve peace the hard way or the easy way. The easy way is just get the United States and get them going. The hard way is to make sure that they don't do anything, right? I mean that they don't do anything. Russia takes over. He gets skinned alive and hung like Mussolini, and that'll be it. Cocaine cowboy. You better get his head clear on what he wants to do here. I mean, let's face it. If the U.S. wasn't involved in the first place, the Ukraine would have lasted a couple weeks. That's it. Russia would have rolled, and everybody thinks the U.S. The Russians or the U.S. are the predominant force, but they have to think twice. I mean, Russia's got these supersonic missiles and everything else they've developed, but the States doesn't have them, and they don't have a way to stop them. So Russia's a little bit ahead, especially after the last 4 years. But it's not just heating up in Russia, Ukraine. A deal is going to come down the pipe. It's only a matter of time here, one way or the other. They're heating up with North Korea as well. Kim Jong-un, the little rocket man, is not only in the rockets now. He's 2 years away from completing a nuclear submarine and launching it. He's using Russian technology. It's scheduled to be completed in 2027. And of course, would be equipped with nuclear weapons, nuclear missiles. So North Korea, they're good friends with Russia. They got a pact together. They sent troops over to the war and they supplied weapons to Russia. They traded that, the Russian technology, for the nuclear reactor for the sub. And, this isn't good. North Korea with a nuclear submarine wandering around the waters of the world, South China Sea, and getting out of there and coming over to U.S., the shores of the U.S. or whatever. I mean, that's not a good thing, because now nuclear submarines with the ability to launch moves them close enough to the U.S. to be able to do damage if they so decided to. And this is a big turning point because North Korea has one of the biggest submarine fleets in the world, but they're all the old diesel, antiquated subs, and they're basically junk at this point. And of course, they're unusable against the new submarines the U.S. has. Their nuclear fleet, forget about it. But now this is another little thing that the little rocket man's doing here. He wants to get involved and cause trouble in the theater of the South China Sea, and he's been doing all kinds of crazy stuff down there over the years. So now he's doing it underwater. Yeah, somebody's got to have a talk with him for sure. That could be a real pain. But there's a lot of things going on in this world, and we think Ukraine and Russia is the big one now, with the European Union going to back the Ukraine, and the states pulling out and saying you're on your own. And then we got China, who was always threatening Taiwan, but they've I haven't heard anything about that lately, although I'm sure they're still thinking of it. And then we got the little rocket man starting up again. So here we go again with all these guys, right? Trump will fix him up. I'm not too worried about that. He did before, he'll do it again. And finally, the other news from last week in that was the this bizarre death of Gene Hackman. Has anybody been following this? This is the strangest thing ever. And so basically, if you haven't been following it, the story goes, Gene Hackman and his wife, he was 95, I think, and she was 63, his wife, were found dead in their house in, I think, New Mexico, Santa Fe, New Mexico. And basically, there's no foul play involved, no robbery or anything like that. When they found them, they were both dead. And I mean, the first thing you think of is carbon monoxide poisoning, right? Weather got cold, they turned on the heater, carbon monoxide, they both went down. But they didn't find any traces of carbon monoxide in their bloodstream when they did the autopsy. So they're trying to figure it all out. And apparently, they've got it figured out. And it's the weirdest thing ever. The wife had hantavirus, which is basically a virus you get from mice droppings or rodent droppings. And she had it bad enough that it killed her. And Gene Hackman had Alzheimer's really bad, and she was taking care of him. The guy couldn't take his medication. He couldn't do anything. She was the one that was taking care of him. So she died first. And of course, he's wandering around. He's with Alzheimer's. He don't know who to contact or what to do. So he finally had a heart attack. He had a bad heart, a pacemaker. So he finally had a cardiac problem, and which maybe wouldn't have killed him if she was alive. But with nobody there, he dropped and died. And in the meantime, they had the dog in a crate, and the poor thing couldn't get out for food or water and just died from starvation, apparently. Now this is crazy. But that's the way they're looking at it and saying what happened. And I'm going, wow, that's a sad story right there. Holy crap. But I guess that's what they found out after the investigation, and that's about how it happened. It's a sad ending for one of the most brilliant actors of my time. That's for sure. Anyway, that's it for today. I'm done. You've got everything that's going on the weekend. Now we sit and wait for Parliament to be called back and Trudeau to step down if he does. Let's see if he does. This guy's got a big ego. Maybe he won't. Who knows? And then we see an early election call if Jagmeet Singh, Dingaling Singh, brings down the government, him and Poilievre. We're going to see what happens with Russia. We're going to see what happens with a lot of things this week, Russia and the Ukraine. Stay tuned. Who knows? It's wacky. And we don't have a city council meeting till next week. The 18th, I think, is the next meeting. So we'll be in next Monday talking about that. Tomorrow's Trash Talking Tuesday. We'll see what the news brings us, see what's going on around the city, see what kind of comments I get, questions I get. Limericks. Don't forget the limericks. There once was a man from Dundee. You know how it goes. And we'll see if we can get some entertaining limericks from our viewers and listeners out there. Thank you very much for listening in. My name is Paul Calamere. This is Your City, Your Voice. Have a great day, everybody. Don't forget to support our sponsors, Wild Bill's Auto Repair and Body Shop, Pete's Pizza on Victoria Avenue, and Hamel Machine Company. And I'm going home, and I'm going to wash my car. I'm going to clean up my car and make it very, very happy. Have a great day. God bless you. Enjoy the weather. We'll see you tomorrow at noon with Your City, Your Voice. Ciao, ciao.